let's do a little talking about. I'm gonna call an audible here. Let's talk about recertifications. On our show sheet, it says something else first, but recertifications. We have statewide recertifications coming up in October, and they go from the 8th to the 22nd. And this is a state year. So this is the year where everybody covered by the state that's covered by AFSCME and any other union, also along with people covered by city, county, schools that have contracts expiring next June, will have to vote on whether or not they want to keep their union. Lovely law introduced when they realigned and destroyed Chapter 20. Um, we've been doing it since 2017. We're getting really good at it, but we can't do anything unless the members and the non-members vote because
And I think that's important because I think there's a misconception that because we're AFSCME, it only applies to membership, and it doesn't. That's just a misconception. Just what I've dealt with on the recertification part from last year, I don't think people really understand and realize it. This applies to members and non-members alike.
and non-members and members all must vote. And unlike elections, where if there's a poor turnout, it doesn't matter because it's only 50% of the people who actually voted. In this election, this I'll call it a travesty of democracy. It's 50% plus one of the entire unit. So, blue collar workers statewide, if your job is a blue collar worker, security, anybody in the contract that's represented by AFSCME, it's 50% plus one of the entire voting body. So, if you do not vote, they count it as a no vote.
Which is completely tragic and goes against everything that is diplomatic in any other voting
Show me a
process.
politician who would survive an election like that in their district, where everybody who's eligible to vote has to vote, and if they don't, it counts as a no vote. So we need everybody to vote that they want their union. This doesn't make you a member. It doesn't say you want to be a member. It just says you want to continue to be represented by AFSCME in your contract and at your workplace. And the other travesty is that if you if your unit loses the election and we don't have enough votes to maintain AFSCME representation, then your contract will expire in November, not next June, in November, because you have officially decertified your union. So you won't be able to get another one for 2 years. So we understand there's lots and lots of people out there who are new and don't understand this, and we understand there's lots of people out there who may not think it matters, but it matters. Um, every year for state employees, every 2 years for state employees, we go in and we negotiate wage increases. We put everything else on the table, but the governor refuses to negotiate anything else, and the governor only gives us what she's required to by law, which is 3% or CPI, whatever's lower. This year we got 3% because the CPI was over 3%. Um, if we didn't have that ability, you would get whatever they wanted to give you whenever they wanted to give it to you. City county contracts, school contracts are the same, but each contract is different. So just remember, there will be plenty of information coming out from Council 61, both in the mail and online. So when you get it, don't throw it away.
Please look
The
at
voting
it.
will be open for 2 weeks, and it is voting online. You can vote on your phone. You can vote online. You can vote by calling in, but it's not run by us. It's run by PERB. It's run by a third party voting company. Yeah, all the votes matter. We will be getting a hold of you. You'll be tired of us. But that's extremely important because if you don't vote to keep your union, then you'll no longer be represented. And we know we don't want that because we win these every year. So usually, if we lose one, it's because we expected it to, and it's a small unit who no longer wanted to be represented.
Let us know if you hear from us. Let us know if you have voted. As soon as you let us know that you have voted, we promise on a stack of Bibles, we will stop bugging you.
The only way we know that you have voted or not is if you tell us, because we do not get that information from the third party voting company. All we get is percentages of votes every so often during the 2 weeks. So we will be calling, texting, emailing, sending carrier pigeons, drones, that kind of thing, making sure that we can reach out to as many people as possible. We've been doing that before as well. But if you want us to stop texting you, just say, "Hey, I voted." We won't ask you how you voted, but if you want to tell us, feel free. More information about that coming later because that is a big topic. Anything else you want to say about research?
Just the most important thing to know is that uh, if you don't vote, that's a no vote. That's absolutely what we don't want to have happen. Always remember, please, if you think that my unit is going to recertify, I don't have to worry about voting. That is not the way to think. Please, if you want to keep your union, vote yes to do so.
And if you're new or newer and you don't think there is a union at your location, if you're a state employee, there is a union at your location. It might not even be us because there are other unions in the state. But if you're a state employee and you are not management, there's a union at your location. Um, we also represent the Board of Regents, so all the state universities. We represent you as well. Rumors of our death have been greatly exaggerated because here we are.
We're still
So,
here.
still representing the same amount of people we represented 2017. So, we know the problem is that we lost new employee orientation. We lost the right to do it, and they won't let us do it in some places. So we lost that ability to reach out to new employees. We don't even know most time when new employees start. So if you're interested in the union, reach out. And if you're not you're not organized, reach out and we can
We can
organize
fix
and
that.
get you a union. So, with that being said, let's segue quickly and do a small information session on Chapter 20. As some of you may or may not know, Chapter 20 is the Iowa law that gives us the right to bargain, all unions, the right to bargain, and explains what their rights are. In 1977, I think that's the right date,
74, actually.
74, we had one of the best labor laws in the country. What people don't realize is the difference between private sector unions and public sector unions is that private sector unions are governed by the federal government, National Labor Relations Board. They have a right to organize and they have a right to bargain for almost anything. That's federally protected right. Public sector, whether it's here or there, is governed by the states individually. The states get to make their own laws governing public sector workers. In 2017, our fantastic Chapter 20 law, state of Iowa, was pretty much gutted for everybody except what they considered public safety workers. And public safety workers was a very narrow definition, included basically police officers, state troopers, motor vehicle enforcement officers, sheriff's department, sheriff's deputies, that kind of thing. Not necessarily just ILEA certified. That wasn't a guarantee because we have some members who are ILEA certified with powers of arrest who are not considered public safety in the eyes of the state legislature. So those folks have broad bargaining rights like we used to have. Public safety, non-public safety has very limited
Right.
bargaining rights unless we can mutually agree across the table from the employer on what to bargain. So some of the things we used to be able to bargain is, transfer language. That's now illegal. Seniority. They hate that word. Um, Basically, the only thing we have to bargain back forth across table is base wage.
Right.
And if we go to arbitration, if you have a wage scale in your contract, if we go to arbitration, the arbitrator can only grant base wage. Can't even grant issues related to anything else. So, kind of behind the eight ball, we do the best we can. Some contracts out there in the counties and the cities and the schools are full. Great relationships, great contracts. State of Iowa, not so much. And that's all because of who's in charge. And nothing we do about that now because it's not the election year. But what I will say is, I don't care who you vote for, but who you vote for, hold them accountable because they're the ones that controls your rights.
Absolutely.
So that's where the recert idea came from. Was when they changed Chapter 20, they put in the idea for recertifications. Even though this will tell you the level of hate that there was in the legislature for public sector unions, because it's not just us. Um, Public employees, any union employee, always had the ability to decertify their union. It was already in the law. They could do it whenever they wanted to. The recertification addition to Chapter 20 made it mandatory that we will be forced to recertify. So the employees will be forced to say, yes, I want a union. And not only will they be forced to say that, but the union then has to pay for all the costs. And it's like $2 a person whoever's involved. So we have to pay thousands of dollars a year of members' money just so we can go out and have the members and the non-members tell us that yes, we still want a union.
Mhm.
To me, that's silly, but that's the world we're living in right now. So they also, conveniently place recertification time every year right before the national elections. So guess what we're not doing? We're working on recertifications.